I couldn't stand on a stage in front of thousands of people before my alter ego. So I had to start speaking, right? Actions that I had to take outside of my comfort zone were the challenges of people asked me to speak. And I was like, thank you so much for having me back. And it still astonishes me that this entire concept is something like we all kind of do our entire life in the situations that we're at. We just don't realize that we do it. The first thing we're going to do is how do you know what it is? How do you know what your alter ego is? And have any of you heard of a woman called Beyonce? Her alter ego name is Sasha Fierce. And so she named it so that when she goes on stage, she could actually be that person and leave the Beyonce back here so that she could do what she needed to do. And she said over time, she no longer needed Sasha. She was Sasha. She is Beyonce because Sasha is Beyonce, but Sasha gave her permission to be what everybody knows her to be today. When that woman walks on a stage, you know it, right? Like she shows up 100% and owns the entire thing. So that's the first thing I think for everybody to understand. What are your strengths? So you're in a job. You obviously all are doing a good job because you're still here. If you weren't, you'd be fired. So everybody has a good strength. Everybody has strengths. Now you have your weaknesses. I am not of the opinion personally that you need to develop all of your weaknesses so that they're strengths. I think it's bull. I think that's a waste of energy. Okay. We have strengths, they're there for a reason. It's how do we take these weaknesses and propel them to be like, okay, is this weakness? Do I need to change it so that I can actually take my strength and amplify it? So for all of you, I want somebody, I mean, Joe, you did this. So does anybody here, are you bold enough in our meeting to say, okay, here's my strengths in my position, and I'm aware of my weaknesses over here? Does anybody want to name a strength and a weakness? Because if you have goals, you understand that you want to get somewhere else. Does everybody want to grow in their career to achieve more? Or, and some people are totally cool. Like, this is where I'm at. I'm comfortable. I've achieved what I want to, and I just want to enjoy life at this point. And that's cool. Like, if you've got that, I honestly envy you. I am not built that way. I will never be happy enough with myself because there's always more to do and I can grow. So I kind of suffer. That's a weakness of mine, is that I'm constantly pushing myself. Everybody understands. So maybe you guys can do this. You have paper. Does everybody have paper? Everybody has a screen in front of them. Write down
Yes.
3 of your strengths. We're going to walk through creating your alter ego. That's what this is about. So strength being ambitious, insightful, um, competent, or you're compassionate, you're detail oriented, nice. Some people are genuinely kind. Okay, so if everybody's got that, now I want you to go over here and I want you to write down 3 weaknesses that correlate with your strengths that are not allowing you to fully lean into your strengths. So if you're ambitious, are you doubtful? Are you insecure? Right? Because you're ambitious? Does that make sense? Okay. So the next part of understanding what your alter ego kind of should be and how to develop it is going to be your values. And all of us have core values. That's what it's our framework. It's our internal framework. It's our compass. It's the anchor of who we are. That's what we developed as children, right? Your mom says, don't steal cookies from your brother, and you're like, oh, is that bad? And they're like, yes, that's bad, right? Don't go. So put that into professional world. Do not go steal somebody else's work and claim it as your own. Is that bad? Yeah, kind of a douche move, right? You don't do that to people. So it's whatever your values are, you have to create who you are. So, like as a mom, my values are a little bit different from my alter ego. Honestly, I have 2 of them. I have Mad Mary, who is my presenter, and then I have Nikita, who's like that's who I unleash when I've got to go own a room and just network and own my space. So those people are very different from mommy, and the values are a little bit different. As a mom, I'm going to be more gracious. I'm going to be kind. I'm going to listen more. As Nikita, I'm going to take up my space, right? I'm going to own it. I'm not going to look down. I am not going to roll my shoulders in. Those are values that are extremely important for me when I am in my professional persona. So there's that. And then you have your aspirations. So identifying your aspirations and your long-term goals, that's what I said. Your alter ego is there to help move you forward. But if you don't know where you're moving forward to, it's not going to help you. Then you're just going to have this like random person. It's like a teenager, a kid who grows from 4 feet to 6 feet in like a year and a half, and they have this tall body, these long legs and long arms, and they don't know what to do with them. They're going to have this body that they don't know how to function in yet, and they have to grow in. So if you don't know where you're going with your alter ego, it's not going to help you a lot. So those are the things, these are the four quadrants that you're going to identify: your strengths, your weakness, the values of that alter ego, and your aspirations. Having something, the next thing is, so now we have this person, we know where we want them to go. Then how do we put that on? How do we put that identity on? And I, to this day, have not met one person who can psychologically just flip that switch without having to have a process, a routine, something to wear. So for all of you, I was telling the ladies, I literally, like, I had to speak yesterday, and then I had an event I was at for the last 2 days, and I am an introvert. Okay. I never knew. Everybody told me my whole life, you're an extrovert, because I did sports, because I was out there. And then I learned I am an introvert. I'm a performing introvert. So after I am done doing this, I have to put on, right? Because I'm very comfortable being mommy. Put my sweatpants on, my shirt on, I'll make cookies, I will clean, like, I got that. Being in this role, when I have to be, Mad Mary, I have to show up. I've got to speak. I've got to, present myself a specific way. I had my shoes on, had my lipstick on, I usually wear a blazer every time. I had my uniform on. I was on for the last 2 days. I got home last night, cooked dinner. I went in my bed and I stayed there until 5 o'clock this morning. Okay. So like at 8:30, I was done because the introvert in me needed to rest. So, but what helps me get out of introvert is my uniform. So I think maybe before we go into getting the uniform on, let's go to the next phase of this, which is now we're going to craft our alter ego. Okay. So I want everybody, we understand that Superman had a Clark Kent. And I think it's like you have to have a name for it, because all of us, if you just say when you're born, you're a boy, you're a girl, congratulations, here's your attributes. There is something powerful about having a name, and a good name. And all of us identify with our name. We tend to, you know, Mary means bitter. That's what my name means. I'm not a bitter person. I do not identify with that aspect of my name, but I am 100% like basic white chick, right? From the South in America. Guess what season it is here? It's becoming fall. It's what is it? It's pumpkin spice season. And I was like, I fully embrace the Mary in me, the basic white girl, and I'm going to get my pumpkin spice latte. But as having my alter ego, right? That name. So it's important to have a name because we do identify with it. That's the point. So this is how we're going to do it. So we've kind of got the basics. We had strengths, weaknesses, values, and aspirations. We've got that part. So now think of somebody, and this is how I like to walk through it. If you're thinking of a name to name it, this is you, right? This is all the inner you. And take the time to think of who are somebody. Everybody watches a movie, we read books. There's characters that we aspire to be because we see elements in there that we are drawn to. Think of somebody and write them down right now. Just think of that name, write it down. And it should invoke whatever those strengths are and the ambitions that you have. It should align. That name should carry the power of that for you to achieve the goals. And then now you go into the next phase of to really start to anchor this is what is their story? Like you have to create your backstory because that's what gives you the power to be the alter ego. And then finally, as that backstory is developed, because that's what gives you the emotional ties to it. That's we have to create emotions. If you think about every time you've been mad at somebody, is it the action that you remember or is it the emotion that you remember? Typically the emotion. So for women, if your man or whatever, if he forgets to bring you flowers on your anniversary, it's not the fact that he didn't bring you flowers, it's that he forgot and it hurts your feelings because you didn't feel important enough for him to remember. So it's understanding what we're tying things to. It's the emotions have to be tied to something in order for us to remember it. That's why even like the name, the style, all of it, we have to have a feeling about it because that's how humans are. And that's what gives us the attachment, which leads us to the style. So literally thinking we are computers that have programming, correct? I think, does everybody agree to that? Like we all have a code, that voice that runs in our mind that's saying you can or you cannot do this. Okay. All of us have it. When you start to reprogram, and that's what the alter ego really is for, is to give, like I said in the beginning, give yourself permission to be the fullest you that's not limited by your emotional insecurities. Because what if you never had trauma? What if you never had bad experiences? What if you never had somebody telling you as a child that you're too stupid, you'll never do this? What if you never had some, for us women, and I'm sure guys have experienced it, what if you've never had somebody trying to suppress you, whether it's a government, whether it's a religion, whether it's family saying you'll never be able to do this. Like what, like that's too ambitious. Why would you want to do this? What if we never had that? Would we need an alter ego? No, because we would be geared, programmed to do and to execute who we are. So in your professional world, again, this goes back to who do you want to be professionally? How do you want to grow? And where are you limiting yourself? Because frankly, we all have insecurities. We all feel like we're honestly not enough. I don't think there's one human that I've met that when you listen to the conversation, the programming, you understand the code, you're watching it. Most people, they don't feel like they're enough. I haven't met one person yet who is like, oh yeah, I'm like, I am more than enough. I got this. Because we're what's called human. So we have this flaw innately built into us. So we have to rewrite the code to give ourselves the permission to be who we are. So the style, what you have to do, like what I literally had to do, and in the book it walks you through this. You have to start thinking about what does that person wear? So that's where the tactile part came in. I had to attach and anchor myself with, and I chose red bottom shoes because those red bottom shoes, everybody knows what they are pretty much. There is something tied to Louboutin shoes. So I worked my butt off the first largest contract that I ever did. And I went and I bought one pair of black, simple red bottom shoes. And those were my superpower. That is my cape. Those are my glasses, right? And my red lipstick. So that was what the appearance of my alter ego has to be. That is what I chose for me. Then the speech patterns. I have to, and I still, even before I came on here, I have to write down what do I want people to walk away with? How do I want them to see me? When any interaction I have, when I'm walking into that room, who do I want them to see? I want them to see somebody who's confident, somebody who is competent, and somebody who's a leader. So how does that person speak? How does that person carry their posture? It's down to every detail. It's like you are in a play, and we really kind of are. Our lives, a lot of us, we take a supporting role, and we're too afraid to be the lead in our own story. Has everybody watched the Avengers or Iron Man? I'm assuming. But we all understand Tony Stark, when he walked in the room, how did he behave? And as Iron Man, there was a little bit of Tony Stark in there, but he was more concerned about others than himself. So you can see the difference in the personality, but there's a behavior in which you're going to speak. Your body's going to move. So think about whoever that alter ego is, look at them, look at how they did it, right? For me with Nikita, there was a show called Nikita and it was a woman and she was badass, right? She kicked everybody's butt and she could carry herself. She wasn't afraid of anything. She was fully, I felt like embodied with who she is. That's what I liked about her because the elements that I liked was she was comfortable with who she is and owning that part of herself. And then, so you have your name, you got your backstory, your origin story. We all need it, we all have it. And then you have your style. As you are building your alter ego and starting to walk in them and operate in them, you're going to start with one little behavior and then you're going to build upon it. And I will tell you for me, as I developed my alter ego about 5 years ago in this industry, the first thing I had to do was not look down when people were walking past me. I had to look them in the eye. That was the first thing for my behavior for me to do was to do that. Like this is going to be a lifelong process for me. Maybe some of you will knock it out and kill it and you'll have that alter ego like chef's kiss on point in like the next few weeks. But this is how you're going to start to unleash the potential because it's slowly doing that. And like this says, by stepping outside of your comfort zone and taking on new challenges. So great to have an alter ego. Now, what is that alter ego going to do? So if you want to do a different role or you want to continue to grow because you have your ambition set, what do I have to do? What are tasks that I can ask for? Or how can I do my job differently? Because now I have this person doing it and it's going to make room. It's going to grow. So you have to expand. So that's the whole point, right? Alter ego is the person that gives you permission to be honestly who you truly are. You're just too afraid to be it. And then what are the actions that they're going to be able to handle now because of this? When I can only speak for what I know, but I couldn't stand on a stage in front of thousands of people before my alter ego and own that space. So I had to start speaking, right? Actions that I had to take outside of my comfort zone were the challenges of people asked me to speak. And I was like, yes, you know? And so then learning how to step out there and let that persona take over. So, embrace the challenges. You're going to step outside of your comfort zone and it will lead to success. That's going to be different for each of us, what that's going to look like. I know that I am over by 3 minutes, so I want to be very respectful of the time. Thank you guys so much. If there's any questions, please do not hesitate to email me. It's mary.hamilton@maddata.io. If you need to contact me, I am on social media. I am on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. So if you have questions, don't feel like you can't contact me. I am happy to help I will listen. I will help you build it. I will be there for you guys because I think that this is truly transformative. And I'm looking forward to seeing what all of you will do with this. So if there's any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. But I appreciate so much you giving me the time and the attention and engaging with me. And I hope that you walk away feeling like you can do something a little bit more than you've ever done before. So I appreciate it.